You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Most writers and radio show hosts know that to connect with your fans, you need to do more than just write books or record the latest podcasts. There are many different elements that go into forming an online platform, but there are also many hidden traps. To make matters worse, solid advice on how to survive the muddy waters is scarce. In the book Hidden Traps, I talk about some of the important issues of working with an online platform, highlighting traps that could put your physical or internet security at risk or be harmful to your reputation. Are your social media posts just links with a few disjointed words, making you look like someone who can't complete a sentence? Did your new website cost you more than you anticipated? Are you leaking your personal contact details across the web without even knowing it? Then you need Hidden Traps. Although Hidden Traps is not officially released until August 1st, you can pre-order your paperback or ebook copy now from a variety of retailers, including Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Kobo. Visit blackwolfpublications.com for more details.
Here's George Foreman with InventHelp.
Hi, I'm George Foreman. Do you have an idea for a new product or invention? People ask me all the time, George, how do I get my idea in front of companies? How do I get a patent? What do I do next? Do you have the same questions? I'll tell you like I'll tell them all. Call my friends at InventHelp.
Call InventHelp today for free information. InventHelp has been helping inventors for more than 30 years and has sales offices nationwide. InventHelp can submit your invention to companies who are interested in receiving new ideas. If you have an idea and want to try to patent it and submit it to companies, you should call InventHelp today for free information.
Listen, I can't guarantee a company will be interested in your idea, but I believe every inventor deserves the opportunity to step into the ring and take their best shot. Put InventHelp in your corner.
Get your free inventor's information. Call 1-800-353-6490. That's 1-800-353-6490. Again, 1-800-353-6490.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it, there to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
If you're 85 or younger, would you like peace of mind and comfort for your family? We're Final Expense Direct with an urgent message for you. The average funeral today costs over $8,000, but the most you'll get from government benefits is $255. How will your family pay the difference? We can help. Our senior plans start as low as just $1 a day and pay up to $30,000 for a funeral and other final expenses. Peace of mind is easy. There's no medical exam. You'll have lifetime coverage, and your plan can't be canceled as long as you pay your premiums. Call now for free information about our senior plans. Answer a few simple questions and receive approval right on the phone. Plus, call right now and we'll give you a discount prescription card for free. Call 800-553-8687. That's 800-553-8687. Again, 800-553-8687. 8687.
You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, Internet radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
My name is Jessie. I'm a United States Special Forces widow. This gives me a unique perspective on the world around us. If you're willing to listen, I'll tell you how I see it, and I won't pull any punches. This is my POV, which stands for Point of View.
All right, it's Jessie. How y'all doing out there today? Gotta get all those buttons in order. My goodness. And no, I know it's not rocket science. I guess a week on vacation just has me a little uncoordinated there. All right, folks, how y'all doing tonight? Does anybody have a weather report for Canada? Anybody? Okay, I think the persistent cold weather up there has affected their brains. Yeah, I really do. I really think the persistent cold weather up in Canada has affected their brains. Why? Do you live under a rock? They paid millions of dollars, Canadian taxpayer dollars. Thankfully, I'm not a Canadian taxpayer. To a former Gitmo detainee who killed American soldiers. And just as a reminder for everybody out there, you want to interact with me during the show? Well, you can find me over on Twitter. You can tag me in a tweet at Jessie's POV. Or I am hanging out with my good friend Ron in the KLRNRadio.com chat room. Yes, KLRNRadio/chat. So, yes, you can listen live, and maybe I'll tell you something in the chat room that I don't bring up on air. So, what can I say? What can I say? You never know what you're going to learn about me if you hang out in the chat room. So, what? Okay, there's not as much news on my usual front, i.e. the terrorism stuff, but that doesn't mean there's not a lot going on. You just have to scratch the surface a little bit harder. Well, you know I do it. So, yes. And the news lately has been just bonkers. Okay, let's just get that out there. The news lately has been bonkers. Why do I say it's been bonkers? Well, I'm getting lots of interesting stuff from all over the world. And some of it I share with you right away. And some of it I kind of hold back and sniff around before I let it be known to you. And this one has me concerned. Makes me think North Korea. Yes, I'm leading off with quackers. Don't worry, we'll get to the Canucks and their payments. To former Gitmo detainees in just a minute. But why would someone defect to South Korea and then return to North Korea? Oh, and by the way, Winnie the Pooh's been censored. Yes. Mr. Winnie Dar Pooh and his honeypots? Yeah, they've been censored. Who would censor the lovable bear and his bouncy, bouncy, bouncy friends? Only one country I can come up with. No, it's not Iran. Or North Korea. Remember, he loves Disney. It's China. I've got more on that one, too. So, yes, Winnie the Pooh, your lovable old Pooh Bear, who wants nothing more than to eat his honey. So, it's been definitely an intriguing thing. And China has pledged to support another country. I'd like to know who. And of course, I've got that coming up for you too. And I got a couple of audio clips. A couple of intriguing things were said at the State Department today. What, you didn't know I cyberstalk their press conferences? Of course I do. Gotta do it to bring you all the information. Alright, so now the sound you've all been waiting for. Just had to grab the last 2 pages to add to the stack off the printer. Yep, show prep. You know I do this every night, and no, I'm not dropping the same stack of paper on the keyboard every night. That is a fresh stack of paper every night. Trust me, I keep a case right underneath the printer. All right, like I said, got that weather report from Canada? I mean, I know it's usually cold, but are their brains frozen? Really? I don't think they are. But I don't like what they've done. Now, of course, I gotta say, it's their taxpayer money, not mine. And it was, well, their laws. A former Guantanamo Bay prisoner who pled guilty to killing a U.S. soldier in Afghanistan received an apology and a multi-million-dollar payment from the Canadian government. Anybody got the duct tape? I think my head's about to explode. Yes, he received an apology and a multi-million-dollar payment after a court ruling said his rights were abused. A government statement, and now this came out Friday, but I had to take an extra day before I brought it to you on Monday just to make sure I had my ducks quacking, because this is ridiculous, in your host's opinion. A government statement Friday said the details of the settlement with Omar Khadr were confidential, but an official familiar with the deal said it was previously for 10.5 million Canadian dollars. That's about 8 million US. A different official confirmed the money had been given to Khadr. Both insisted, of course, on anonymity. because no one's authorized to air the dirty laundry in public. On behalf of the Government of Canada, we wish to apologize to Mr. Kadar for any role Canadian officials may have played in relation to his ordeal abroad and any resulting harm. This statement came from the Public Safety Minister, Ralph Goodall, and Foreign Affairs Minister, Chrystia Freeland. Now, Kadar was born in Canada, and he was 15 when he was captured by U.S. troops following a firefight at a suspected al-Qaeda compound in Afghanistan. All right, you with me so far? So he was a teenager when he was captured on the battlefield in Afghanistan. Now, I know everyone's going, but he was just a kid. Well, over there, if you're big enough and strong enough to hold a rifle and aim it in the general direction, you are big enough, old enough, and strong enough to be a combatant. Usually it starts around 13 or 14, so 15's right around their prime recruitment age over there. So he was scooped up off the battlefield following a firefight with U.S. troops. And it resulted in a U.S. Special Forces medic, U.S. Army Sergeant First Class Christopher Spear. Kadar was suspected of throwing the grenade that killed Spear. He was taken to Gitmo and ultimately charged with war crimes by a military commission. He pled guilty in 2010. Now, he pled guilty to charges that included murder and was sentenced to 8 years plus the time he'd already spent in custody. He returned to Canada 2 years later to serve the remainder of sentence and was released in May 2015, pending an appeal, which he claimed was made to his guilty plea, which he claimed was made under duress. Okay, so let's back this up for a minute. Yes, he was 15 when he was scooped up off the battlefield. But remember, over in the Middle East, 15, you're old enough to fight. Don't start with me that he was a minor, blah, 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 blah. Oh, please, don't even go there. All right. Kadar's lawyer, Dennis Edney, issued a statement lauding Prime Minister Justin Trudeau for the settlement and criticized the administration of his predecessor, Stephen Harper. The statement went on to read, Omar Kadar was abandoned in a hellish place called Guantanamo Bay for 10 years, a place internationally condemned as a torture chamber. Okay, so I went over to the World Wide Web, and I'm going to grant you that there's some stuff on the web about Gitmo, all right, that's not the nicest. Then why are we building the detainees' soccer fields and all those things? Why do they have soccer fields and movie theaters and libraries? Oh yeah, I don't know if they've got the movie theaters, but they definitely have the libraries. They get their Muslim worship services. They've even created something called habit trails. Now, what's a habit trail? All right, a habit trail, this way the prisoners can go from place to place without minimizing their direct contact with the guards. They're pre-approved, self-contained paths that the prisoners can walk on. So if they've got to go get medical treatment, they can. Now, of course, Trump has said that, he wants to, or at least indicated, he wants to restock or refill Guantanamo, or Gitmo as it's more aptly called, whereas his predecessor wanted to shutter it. First of all, let's talk about Guantanamo for just a minute. Guantanamo Bay, Cuba is in Cuba. Guantanamo Bay is in Cuba. And if you look at the flight plans people have to file, there's something called the Gitmo twist. Literally, the planes have to take this almost 90-degree turn to come in and land so they don't overfly Cuban airspace. Now, I don't know if they're still doing that given our quote-unquote friendlier relationship with Cuba, but it is rented land from Cuba. So it is not technically on U.S. soil. Of course, you could make the case that it is U.S. soil since it's a military base, but it is not, we'll say, U.S. mainland soil. It's not in the 50 states, okay? Can we all agree on that one? I think we can. Because last I checked, Cuba is not a state of the part of the United States. About 90 miles away, so it's close enough but far enough. Now, the facilities at Guantanamo Bay are actually, they didn't seem that bad. And I've done some research on it because I actually thought about looking into going down there as a journalist. Yes, I've actually thought about applying and going down there as a journalist. Now, I haven't put in the application, but I have considered it. But they've spent thousands on soccer fields. They've spent money on libraries. And this is where he was supposedly tortured. Now, I will grant you that there were probably harsh interrogation techniques used. I'm not going to dispute that. I wouldn't even attempt. Okay? We're just going to say, granted. I will definitely give you that one. But there is a difference between harsh interrogation techniques such as sleep deprivation, maybe not getting your meal on time, and torture. Okay? I'm sorry. I don't recall hearing about anything about alligator clips and car batteries. I really don't, happening at Guantanamo. May it have happened? Of course it could have. I'm not everywhere. I don't know everything. But I did a fair bit of research on this. And yes, I'm sitting here sorting show prep. You know I never have it all sorted when I hit the air. Come on, that would be just not like me, would it? Come on, what do you guys think? You always love, I swear you guys tune in half the time to see if I'm going to drop my show prep on the floor and have to go diving for it just so I can continue the show. All right, but harsh interrogation techniques and torture, I'm going to say, are two different things. Waterboarding, I don't know where to put it. I've actually got some friends in Special Forces. I've talked to them. They say it's uncomfortable, it's miserable, it's not torture, but they say it is right up to the line if you want to get pushy. Okay? They say they wouldn't call it torture, but they'd say, given our Western sensibilities, it's right near the line. So, we got this 15-year-old who pled guilty, claimed his guilty plea was under duress. Well, I'm sorry, if crappy music constitutes torture, how many companies can I sue for their crappy hold music? I'm forced to stay there if I want help with whatever it is I'm calling about. Let's see, sleep deprivation. Yeah. I've had many a reason that I haven't gotten to bed on time. And let's see, what else? Being cold and not having the clothing he wanted. I got caught on a vacation trip a couple months back. It was a quick one, so you guys didn't even know it. Weather changed. I didn't have the clothing I wanted. It was supposed to be warm. Weather took a turn for the cold. I was forced to go get some clothing. Now, of course, I had the option of going to buy it. This guy didn't, but he also wasn't presumably out in the elements. Sleep deprivation during interrogation is what they're calling oppressive conditions. I'm sorry. Sleep deprivation. And Kadar's lawyers filed the $20 million Canadian dollar wrongful imprisonment lawsuit against the Canadian government because it violated international law by not protecting its own citizen and conspiring with the U.S. in its abuse of Kadar, because they were part of the coalition. Now, the widow of Speer and another American soldier blinded by the grenade in Afghanistan filed a wrongful death and injury lawsuit against Kadar in 2014, fearing Kadar might get his hands on money from his wrongful imprisonment suit. A U.S. judge granted them $134.2 million in damages in 2015. They've filed an application in Canadian court with the hope that any money paid by the Canadian government to Kadar would go to the widow and Morris and Don Winder, the lawyer for the Speer family, have not responded to messages. But, so people saw this coming. Now, are all Canadians on board with this? Absolutely not. And I am going to be just a little late taking my commercial break. All right. Now, of course, his lawyers also said that Kadar was pushed into the war by his father, whose family stayed with Osama bin Laden briefly when Omar Qadir was a boy. Qadir's Egyptian-born father was killed in 2003 when a Pakistani military helicopter shelled the house. Well, at least you can't say it was a U.S. helicopter, it was Pakistani. So, now the case has deeply divided the Canucks. But they say it's unrelated to what he did in Afghanistan. Okay, if it's unrelated, his acts in Afghanistan are what landed him in Gitmo. I'm sorry, but Canucks?
That's not how it works. That's not how any of this works.
If he wasn't in Afghanistan with a rifle and throwing grenades at U.S. Special Forces, he probably wouldn't have landed in Gitmo. Now, opposition Conservative Party leader Andrew Scheer called the decision disgusting and said he would have avoided a settlement. He accused Trudeau of rushing to give Kadar money so Speer's widow would not have her claim for money heard in court. Cameron Ahmed, a spokesman for the Prime Minister, vehemently denied the timing of the settlement had anything to do with the widow's claim. All right. Now, you think somebody would notify the victims of his injuries? No. The former Prime Minister of Canada. Yes, the former Prime Minister of Canada reached out to the widow and his surviving victims and apologized. So it wasn't So I found that pretty fascinating. All right, folks, we have reached the bottom of the hour. And you know what that means. Yes, gotta pay those bills, even here in Radio Land. I will see you on the other side. This is totally okay if you wanna. You can play dead if you wanna. Forget what they said if you wanna. Turn your back on the country needing you right now. But I don't wanna.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Most writers and radio show hosts know that to connect with your fans, you need to do more than just write books or record the latest podcasts. There are many different elements that go into forming an online platform, but there are also many hidden traps. To make matters worse, solid advice on how to survive the muddy waters is scarce. In the book Hidden Traps, I talk about some of the important issues of working with an online platform, highlighting traps that could put your physical or internet security at risk or be harmful to your reputation. Are your social media posts just links with a few disjointed words, making you look like someone who can't complete a sentence? Did your new website cost you more than you anticipated? Are you leaking your personal contact details across the web without even knowing it? Then you need Hidden Traps. Although Hidden Traps is not officially released until August 1st, you can pre-order your paperback or ebook copy now from a variety of retailers, including Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Kobo. Visit blackwolfpublications.com for more details.
Here's George Foreman with InventHelp.
Hi, I'm George Foreman. Do you have an idea for a new product or invention? People ask me all the time, George, how do I get my idea in front of companies? How do I get a patent? What do I do next? Do you have the same questions? I'll tell you like I'll tell them all. Call my friends at InventHelp.
Call InventHelp today for free information. InventHelp has been helping inventors for more than 30 years and has sales offices nationwide. InventHelp can submit your invention to companies who are interested in receiving new ideas. If you have an idea and want to try to patent it and submit it to companies, you should call InventHelp today for free information.
Listen, I can't guarantee a company will be interested in your idea, but I believe every inventor deserves the opportunity to step into the ring and take their best shot. Put InventHelp in your corner.
To get your free inventor's information, call 1-800-353-6490. That's 1-800-353-6490. Again, 1-800-353-6490.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it, there to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 $3 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
If you're 85 or younger, would you like peace of mind and comfort for your family? We're Final Expense Direct with an urgent message for you. The average funeral today costs over $8,000, but the most you'll get from government benefits is $255. How will your family pay the difference? We can help. Our senior plans start as low as just $1 a day and pay up to $30,000 for a funeral and other final expenses. Peace of mind is easy. There's no medical exam. You'll have lifetime coverage, and your plan can't be canceled as long as you pay your premiums. Call now for free information about our senior plans. Answer a few simple questions and receive approval right on the phone. Plus, call right now and we'll give you a discount prescription card for free. Call 800-553-8687. That's 800-553-8687. Again, 800-553-8687. 8687.
For hanging in there with me while I paid them bills. I will get my radio coordination back soon, my friends, soon. Yeah, taking a week off has slowed me down and made me a little bit all thumbs. But, as promised, I got some stuff from the State Department. Now, I'm still kind of working on the last one, but we're going to go ahead and run with it. In its raw form, I'm just kind of fixing one thing on it. And then we're going to go with it because, yeah. It's, Obama recertified Iran as living up to the Iran nuclear deal. Now, any of you out there happen to know what the host thinks of the Iran nuclear deal? I'm going to tell you. Right here. This is what I think should happen to the Iran nuclear deal. Yep, tear it up. Why? Iran has never lived up to a single deal we've made with them. What makes you think they are going to start now? So, all right, let's take a listen.
That Iran is in compliance with the JCPOA. However, the United States firmly believes that it is in violation of the spirit of the law with regard to an important part of it. And part of what the JCPOA agreement says is it's supposed to contribute to regional and international peace and security. And we believe that some of the actions that the Iranian government has been involved with undermines that stated goal of regional and international peace and security. Iran remains, and we all know this, one of the most dangerous threats to the United States, not only our interests here around the world, but also to regional stability. And I've got a whole list of things that we can go over here that Iran is responsible for. Their full range of activities extend far beyond the nuclear threat, and I think we are all full aware of that.
All right, so while they are technically complying, as usual, they are violating the spirit of any agreement. So, like I said, they are violating the spirit of the agreement. Your host thinks, and remember, I've studied this country almost as much as I've studied North Korea, just talked about them a little less on the air. And I know you guys can't see my bookshelf, but I've read numerous books about Iran, including one by a man by the name of Reza Khalili. Now, Reza Khalili is a pen name. He can't publish under his real name. He'll be killed. He was part of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard while working as an FBI informant. And then he defected to the United States. Yes, he betrayed his country and then came here after providing us eyes-on intelligence for over a decade. It became too hot for him. And the friend that was helping protect him died. So he took that moment to get out. Which, I have to say, that was probably smart. But he details in his book how they evaded sanctions when they were at their heaviest, during the 80s and the 90s. He details what happened when our embassy was stormed. And Trump is proposing, while he reluctantly recertified that they are living up to the letter of the nuclear deal, they are not living up to the spirit of it. And your host is inclined to believe that. U.S. Secretary of State Rex Tillerson on Monday notified that Congress, although Iran is complying with the nuclear agreement, the country remains one of the most dangerous to the United States' interests in regional stability. The State Department was required to tell Congress by Monday whether Iran was adhering to the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, aka the Iran nuclear deal, the P5+1. Now, the P5+1, 5 permanent members of the UN Security Council: China, France, Russia, Britain, the US, plus Germany. The certification is required every 90 days. Senior administration officials said that although Iran was complying with the letter of the agreement, the country, Mr. Frog wants to make his presence known. The country is unquestionably in default of the spirit of the agreement. And, of course, U.S. officials point to non-nuclear threats, including complicity in the atrocities committed by Assad, freedom of navigation of waterways in the Middle East, cyber attacks against the United States and other countries, and arbitrary detention of foreign nationals, including U.S. citizens. And, of course, this comes on the heels of yet another Tehran arrest. Yes, Tehran arrest. So, yes, yet another person, U.S. citizen, was arrested in Tehran. And if you didn't catch my show yesterday, he was dealing with documents from 1875 to 1925, and they charged him with treason. I'd like to know how dealing with documents that old constitutes treason. So, of course, they are proposing new sanctions because they want to address Iran's malign behavior. The administration plans to work with allies and address what it perceives as flaws in the Iran nuclear deal. That's my words. The things, of course, says JCPOA. And of course, no one's willing to say what allies, when, and what's on the table and what's off, but Trump does tend to play some of his cards close to the vest. Not all of them, but we're not covering that. All right. What makes me think North Korea is back to their tricks? If they ever stopped. Excuse me, Mr. Frog. All right, we're going to play another audio clip about Middle East peace while I grab a quick sip of water.
At the conclusion of Mr. Greenblatt's visit, it coincided with a terror attack that took place at Temple Mount Harim al-Sharif that left 2 Israeli police officers dead and 1 wounded, and that dominated the news cycle while he was there. The horrific attack should not detract from the push for peace, but rather remind us all that more so that there is a need for peace.
Yes, there is a need for peace in the Middle East. Now, here's another audio clip about Mr. Greenblatt and his trip.
Mr. Greenblatt continued efforts to advance President Trump's goal of a comprehensive Israeli-Palestinian peace deal. I don't have any additional travel to read out for you at this time, but Mr. Greenblatt plans to provide regular visits to the region and coordinate with the Department of State and also the National Security Council.
All right. So it looks like Mr. Greenblatt and not Jared Kushner is taking the role on lead on Middle East peace. I'm not sure that's a bad thing. I'm not sure it's a good thing. Haven't made up my mind here, kids. Sorry. Just haven't. When you've got faithless actors like Iran in the works and Palestinian Liberation Organization, and by the way, just for reference, guys, in case you live under a rock, you know that the approximate amount of money that the U.S. gives the Palestine Liberation Organization, the Palestine, whatever you want to call them, Liberation Organization, every year in humanitarian aid is almost the exact amount that they pay out for their martyr payments to the families of those who kill and injure Western citizens. All right, rolling right along. Back to North Korea now that Mr. Frog has been, let's hope, successfully kicked out. I gotta get a frog sound effect. Hey Rick, if you're listening, email me a good frog sound effect. I need one. All right. A recent propaganda video out of Pyongyang has South Korean authorities investigating whether a North Korean defector was kidnapped and taken back across the border. Now, this does happen. Remember, North and South Koreans, whether they're from North Korea or South Korea, look all about the same. Slight differences in height, slight differences in language, but the differences in language can be trained out, and no one's going to notice a few inch difference in height. On Sunday, a woman resembling Lim and identifying herself as Yeon Hae-sung, the name Lim used when she was in North Korea, appeared in a propaganda video posted on the North Korean state-run website. I'm not even going to try and run on a state-run North Korean website. In it, she denounces South Korea and claims she has returned to the bosom of the fatherland. South Korean authorities do believe that Lim is no longer in South Korea and currently investigating the circumstances that might have taken her back. The woman in the nearly half-hour video sits with former detective Kim Man-bok and an interviewer to discuss life in South Korea, which she describes as, quote-unquote, her words, not mine, hell. She said she was forced to slander Pyongyang during her time there. She adds that she was lured to the South Korea by the fantasy she could eat well and make a lot of money. But she became lonely and missed her family. She also criticized South Korea's capitalist society and speaks of her struggle to find work there. She says she is now living with her parents in her hometown of Anju. It is still unclear whether Lim's apparent return to North Korea was forced or voluntary. Several defectors have returned to the country since 2012. However, most people who make it out of the authoritarian country do not return, despite facing a difficult path adjusting to life outside of the Kim's totalitarian regime. Approximately 30,000 North Korean defectors are currently estimated to live in South Korea, and 25 have returned since 2012. 30,000, 25. No, not 25,000, not 2,500, 25. Lim's story is not unusual. Only because defectors rarely return, but because nothing about her life in South Korea seemed publicly amiss. It's unclear when she went missing or whether anyone alerted the authorities about her disappearance before the video's release. South Korean newspaper Joang Ilbo reported that Lim had thanked her fans in April and called her birthday possibly the happiest birthday of my life. There was even an online fan club dedicated to Lim, which has now been shut down following her apparent return to North Korea. My guess, and this is purely host speculation, my friends. Yes, purely host speculation. That she was kidnapped. She may have been a little lonely. However, I'm going to go out on a limb and say she was kidnapped. All right. Winnie the Pooh has been censored. Yes, Winnie the Pooh, Winnie the Pooh. You don't want me singing any further than that, my friends, but yeah, Mr. Pooh Bear and his honey pots. Yeah. He's been censored. How could that lovable bear be censored? Well, it seems Chinese internet censors have cracked down on Winnie the Pooh. Yes, one of the most pressing questions facing a million Chinese internet users seems to be, have the authorities banished a honey-loving teddy bear from China's cyberspace? Yes. Now, there's been a juxtaposed picture of a frosty handshake between Xi Jinping and Shinzo Abe, with the image of Pooh and his gloomy donkey friend Eeyore. Okay. The sense of humor is not shared by China's internet czars. And of course, for those of you who live under a rock or have never traveled to China, China has the most restrictive and sophisticated internet filtering and censorship system in the world, known as the Great Firewall of China. On WeChat China, China's most popular social media platform, if one sends the famous image of Xi and Obama next to Pooh and Tigger in a chat group, other users won't see the picture. The rule even applies to shots of Monday's Financial Times front page. But one-to-one chat sessions seem to be left alone for now, presumably due to their more limited impact. Users have also found a set of animated emojis featuring Pooh Bear and his friends removed from the platform WeChat. And of course, this is China's version of Twitter. And you go searching for Winnie the Pooh in both Chinese and English. In accordance with relevant laws and regulations, results are not displayed. And Tuesday evening censors also banned users from posting the phrase Winnie the Pooh in any comments. Oh yes, so China has gone and done it. They have censored the honey-loving bear. Come on, guys. That is... How can you censor the lovable, honeypot-loving bear? All right, folks, I have reached the bottom of the hour, my time's about up. So I unfortunately got to rock and roll on out of here. But I just want to leave you with one last thought.
For anyone going through any type of personal battle, whether it's cancer, PTSD, depression, a personal challenge that they want to do. They want to go climb Mount Everest. You need to stay in the fight. And when I say that, I mean mentally. If you're not mentally in the fight, if you don't stay in the fight, you can't win.
All right, folks, and as a reminder, you can follow me on Twitter at Jesse's POV. You can email me at the station, Jesse's POV at KLRNRadio. And on that note, folks, yes, you regulars know what's coming, you new ones. Welcome to the club.